At the story's beginning, we see an officer named Danny sitting in a doctor's office. Danny was very troubled, so he sat with the doctor and shared his worries. Danny often remembered his daughter because she had suddenly disappeared and he still knew nothing about her. One day Danny was in the park with his daughter and a boy was standing next to his daughter. Danny's gaze was only on the toys there, but when he looked back at his daughter, she had disappeared from there. Danny could never forget this incident. Because of this, his wife also left him. Even after years of research, he still couldn't find out what happened to his daughter and who kidnapped her that day. Now Danny's friend officer message calls him outside. While leaving, he still remembered everything about his daughter. Danny's friend tells him, "There is a box in a bank locker about to be stolen and we need to stop that theft." That's why we quickly reach the bank and watch the recordings of all the cameras there. While watching the videos, Danny starts suspecting a man. That man was sitting on a bench outside with a woman and he told the woman it was boiling out. Saying this, he left from there. Danny was suspicious of him because now that man was heading towards the bank. Danny also quickly followed the man into the bank. The woman sitting with that man starts crossing the road and right there an accident grabs everyone's attention. Danny, who had arrived at the bank, meets the bank manager there and in a casual conversation, manages to steal the keys to the locker room from him. The man outside whom Danny had seen in the video enters and takes control of the receptionist, instructing her to bring the same box from the locker room. Danny had come here to find out about that box as well. The man's name was Liv, who had taken control of the receptionist. He was a hypnotist. Meanwhile, inside, Danny had also discovered information about that box. He finds a picture of his daughter and other information when he sees it. Just as the receptionist arrives, Danny holds her at gunpoint and starts questioning her about the box. That's when the guards also start shooting at Danny, but he is wearing a bulletproof jacket so nothing happens to him. Liv had taken control of everyone here. When Danny rushes out, the receptionist intentionally crashes her car into his truck. She does this because Liv has hypnotized her. In this accident, the receptionist also gets injured. After that, Liv approaches her and takes the box from her, which contains all the information about Danny's daughter, and he has attached a bomb to the receptionist's hand. After that, he leaves there. Now when Danny comes out of his car, there is a massive explosion, which Liv himself did. When Danny sees Liv leaving, he starts following him. He reaches the building rooftop where two officers have already caught Liv. Danny shows Liv a picture of his daughter and starts questioning him about her. When Liv looks at his box, he realizes it's empty because Danny has already taken something from it. Liv takes control of the officers supposed to apprehend him, meaning he also hypnotizes them. Both officers turn their guns on each other and carry their own lives, and Liv escapes again. When Danny follows him, Liv mysteriously disappears. This troubles Danny, so he returns and shares everything with his friend. He asks his friend if he knows anything about it, even showing him a picture of his daughter. His friend says no, he doesn't know anything about it. Later that night, while Danny is watching Liv's recorded videos, he receives a call from his friend. His friend suggests he should meet a doctor who knows about hypnotism and can explain how Liv hypnotizes people and why he controls them. Danny believes his friend and goes to meet the doctor, who is in the middle of hypnotizing a man. When Danny arrives, the man has already left. The doctor introduces herself as Diana. Danny tells Diana about his entire story, how his daughter went missing. Diana becomes a little saddened after hearing his story. When Danny tells her about Liv and all the details, she says, "Upon hearing your story, I'm starting to see something very troubling." Just then, she dies due to an accident caused by that man. The man, before dying, only says to Danny, "Stay away from Liv." Upon hearing this, Diana informs Danny that Liv has hypnotized him. Diana had brought Danny to her office and now she explains to him about hypnosis, where people can be controlled and made to do anything. She reveals that the government had formed a team years ago of experts in hypnosis who could hypnotize people just by looking into their eyes and gaining control over them. Danny's friend, however, doesn't believe all of this. To convince him it's true, Diana hypnotizes and asks him to leave. When Danny's friend comes out, Liv is already there, who once again takes him under his control. Inside, Diana and Danny continue their conversation. Danny asks Diana why Liv's hypnotism didn't affect him if this is true. She explains that something significant that had a profound impact must have happened in his life. Perhaps he has endured a great tragedy, and this incident could also be related to the kidnapping of his daughter. She reveals that she is also a part of the same team formed by the government division. Just then, Danny's friend arrives pointing a gun at Danny. Upon this, Danny shoots and kills him. Diana then comes there and kills Danny's friend. Danny was very angry with her for doing that. Diana informs him that Liv already hypnotized his friend. He would have killed them and himself if she hadn't killed him. This brings some relief to Danny. Afterward, the two of them go to Mexico because Danny's friend is a police officer and they are accused of his murder. Their news was spreading everywhere. When they enter a hotel, even the manager recognizes them. Then Diana hypnotizes that manager and they both immediately flee from there. Liv was standing outside when they came out, who had enchanted the police officer and brought him to apprehend them. Danny escapes from there by distracting them and hides between the trains. Then he noticed all the trains were flying by, but it was just his imagination. Suddenly, Liv appears in front of Danny with two officers. There Diana arrives with a truck and kills those officers. Danny realizes that Liv has disappeared from there. They both leave the scene. When Danny tells Diana about all these events, she says that all this is happening to them because Liv wants to control them, but she doesn't know what power lies within Danny and she cannot control him. This surprises Danny as well. He wants to learn a lot about hypnosis, so they go to a hypnosis department where they meet a man who knows about hypnosis and Liv. Therefore, Diana kidnaps that man's wife and asks him to tell them what Liv wants from them and what he wants to do. The man reveals that he wants Domino. Danny doesn't know what Domino is, and Diana explains that Domino is a powerful weapon kept in the hypnosis department. It is called Division because it is associated with a Division company. Some people want to spread destruction in the world using that weapon. The man reveals that Liv had collected evidence against them some time ago. Danny understands that it is somehow connected to his daughter. Diana quickly realizes that the man revealing everything to them was also under Liv's control. Just then, Liv appears and attacks both of them. Everyone present there, including the people, is under Liv's control. Danny kills one of the men and flees Diana on a bike. Danny notices buildings in the sky as they ride away, indicating they are trapped in a specific place. Numerous officers, who were with Liv, were coming to capture them. When Danny looks into the officers' eyes, instead of arresting him, they capture Liv. Danny is confused and doesn't understand what is happening to him. On the other hand, Diana senses that Danny possesses strange powers. To uncover the origins and reasons behind all this, they seek the help of a hacker. This hacker could control anything on the internet according to his will and possessed all the data related to the Domino weapon. When they reach the hacker, he unexpectedly captures Diana, only to realize that Diana is his good friend. The three of them enter his place. Danny is astonished when he witnesses the hacker's hacking skills. Now, he begins to explain to them about the weapon. Suddenly Danny sees a picture of a woman that surprises him because it is a picture of his wife. When he asks about her, the hacker informs him that she is hypnotic. Danny had no idea that his wife had become hypnotic. Feeling upset, he goes into a room and sits down. Diana brings him a drink, and memories of all the moments he spent with his wife come flooding back. He had no clue when his wife turned into a hypnotic. After Diana's departure, Danny receives a call in which someone instructs him to kill Diana. Confused and lost, he takes a knife and goes to kill Diana. When Diana sees this, she becomes worried and realizes that Danny is also under Liv's control. However, she manages to somehow snap him out of it. At that moment, Danny sees his wife's face inside Diana. Danny wakes up again at night because his wife is not letting him sleep with her words. He quietly goes and starts looking at all the information about his wife in Diana's friend's hacker's computer. When he looks at his wife's picture on his mobile, he sees Diana instead of his wife. What was happening with Danny, he didn't know. When he gathers information about his daughter, he realizes that Domino is his daughter's other name. She is the powerful and hypnotic daughter of the powerful and influential Hypnotic. The woman Danny used to see in his thoughts was Diana. Danny and Diana's memories were manipulated, but Danny still couldn't remember anything. When Diana comes, she asks him about their daughter. She tells him he doesn't remember taking her with him, so Danny starts to reflect a little. He says, "Yes, I was the one who ran away with my daughter. I wanted to save my daughter from those divisions who were misusing her." Now when Danny tells the people from the divisions department to come forward, everything changes. Those who had worked with Danny before came in front of him. The company's director was also there, who wanted Domino at any cost, which means Danny's daughter. Danny had erased this information from his memory about where he had left his daughter. That's why Liv was after him, controlling his memory to find his daughter's location. That's why Liv kept reminding Danny of this again and again. But Danny still couldn't remember. When Danny comes out of that place where there was a whole set, everything we saw was only going on in Danny's mind, nothing tangible. Danny is shocked when he discovers this because he has never left that place. All division members who wanted to learn about Danny's daughter were present. Liv tells Danny that they will have to start this thing again. At that moment, they grab Danny and render him unconscious, then tie him to a chair. Diana comes to him and asks about his daughter, but Danny still doesn't tell her anything. Now the experiment begins. They take Danny to see a doctor, who is discussing his daughter with him again. Then he receives a message from his friend and leaves with him. They had to apprehend a thief named Liv in the bank. The entire story was running through Danny's mind again. This time, they discover that before learning about Danny's memory, he had written the address of a place in his diary. Now Diana also understood that Danny's daughter would be there. On the other hand, Danny arrives at a farm where a husband and wife point their guns at him, who turns out to be his mom and dad. Diana is also approaching them, who has gathered all their information. She arrives at the farm with the people from Division. Meanwhile, Danny's mom and dad are ready to confront them because they don't want to give Danny's daughter to them under any circumstances. When Diana arrives, Danny's dad tells her they have taken control of her memory. Danny's friend attacks them at that moment, causing both to faint. When Diana sees Danny's mom and dad in that state, she starts to remember a little. Danny also arrives there. Now he reveals that Diana was never part of the division. He says Liv initially wanted to acquire our daughter because she had hypnotic powers. Their daughter has arrived and Diana is delighted to meet her. Their daughter Diana tells her mom they will stay together. Saying this, she looks toward Liv. Liv's condition deteriorates. He says that they are not on any farm. Immediately, They start changing locations rapidly. Division members begin attacking each other because Danny's daughter controls everyone. At the same time, Danny's mom and dad attack everyone still alive. Liv, who was also there, was about to kill Danny. Then Diana's daughter makes her remember that a masked man captured her. Saying this, she looks toward Liv and kills her. Diana gradually remembers everything. When their daughter was born, they were not part of the division, but they wanted to make their daughter extremely powerful within the division. Her powers had increased significantly, but she didn't like using them to harm people. That's why Danny kept his daughter away from him, and the masked man who was with Diana was none other than Danny himself. He erased Diana's memories so nobody could find out about their daughter and the people from division wouldn't misuse her abilities. He did the same with himself. Danny hid his daughter with his mom and dad and erased his and his wife's memories so that the people from division never reach his daughter. Now everyone remembers everything. All three were very happy.